Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Rosie just looked at me then. Welcome back, or if you're new, hi, I'm Jem. Today I thought I would talk about how I recently reported online about bad access at Leeds Train Station. And, well, I'll put the short video here so that we can all watch it together. Right, Leeds Train Station. You've got accessibility, well, wheelchair accessibility, all wrong. And I didn't know whether to post this because I'm a regular at Leeds Train Station. And so many of the assistance people are so nice. I recognise them and they recognise me. But there's a new information centre that's for assistance. And when I first went, there was no lower bit. The lower bit was a metal door that was shut. So I couldn't get the attention of the people to ask for assistance. When I mentioned it, they were like, "Oh, sorry, love," and opened the door so that we could actually communicate. Then the second time I went, there was a little bell. So in order to get the assistance at the Disability Information Centre, I've got to press a bell, right? But when I press the bell, they can't see me because the bloody thing is so tall. And then when I said, "Guys, you literally can't see me, like, we can't communicate," like I had to go back to see them, and they were like looking down, and they were like, "Oh, someone tried to jump over, so we've got to keep this shut now." And of course, the staff's well-being is number one. But I just feel like there's so many ways you could deal with that and not jeopardise disabled people for an information place that's for assistance. And I felt upset because I just thought, this is something new. It's not old. It's not like you can say, "Oh, it's an old building." Like, this is a new thing that's terrible. And when you say something, it's like, "Oh yeah, that's just how it is." And I'm sharing this because people say, "Oh, you should report it." But when I said something, they were just like, "Oh yeah, sorry, someone tried to climb over." And I'm just thinking, if you cared about disabled people, you would put a glass screen on. Obviously, there's, if you're deaf, that's a bit of a situation. Like, there's gonna be barriers, but there's so many solutions too. So I just wanted to share this because I want it to reach Northern, and I know that they are on it. I've worked with them in the past with another company. So yeah, I'm just disappointed and I want to share. There's no joke at the end because it just really upset me. So as you can see, I was incredibly frustrated. And like I said at the beginning, I don't usually call out businesses and say the name, but it just felt so deflating. But on this video, I wanted to talk about what my thoughts were on whether I should say something or not, because the problem with ableism is that the loudest voices are usually non-disabled people. So, and you always come across as like the moaning myrtle, the person that just keeps moaning all the time. By the way, if you can hear Rosie, she's just playing with the toys. And it was like, because people recognised me at the train station, I was putting myself out there for I don't know, would I be treated differently when I go back to the station? Would they say something? Do they think I'm being an arsehole? There's so many things, but I think what made me do it was how emotional I felt about it, because I just get so frustrated when people say, "You definitely need to do something about that," which, by the way, I think it should be an everyone problem. Access helps everybody, especially disabled people. And I just thought, people say, oh, you should do something, and then when you do something, you just get turned away straight away. And it was the fact that the staff was so blasé, and also it was just a bit like, can't you see the irony that this is the assistant's place and it's so inaccessible, but you're made out to be the person that's just having a go and like, oh, here she goes again. And I think that's the issue with ableism, is that until it happens to you, you just don't care enough. And sometimes that's not ignorance. Well, yeah, it is, but it's like unintended ignorance. But the fact that these people work with disabled people day in, day out, I just thought it was too important not to say something. So obviously I put it on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. It was the most powerful on LinkedIn because I think it's quite a formal platform and Northern Rail are on there. And it don't look good, does it? So I also thought I would give you an update on what their reaction was. So obviously it was very standard, like PR, shut it down, make sure you be polite and, put out the fire as much as possible, which I understand. I've worked in comms before, I know how it works. And, I expected that, and I was like, okay, well, at least they've acknowledged that, it's a thing. And I would say the main response was from the access coordinator. So he said, "Hiya Jem, thanks for flagging this. Happy to get this sorted, as you're absolutely right, it's not okay. I'm going to speak to the local management team now and ask that we get this sorted ASAP." So I was happy with that. And I couldn't help but feel like that was just another way to shut it down as well. But obviously I've got to trust that. I've said it online and they've replied, and someone human has replied, which is nice. So I've said, thank you, I'm hoping so, and for the staff working there to know how important it is to be able to speak to disabled people clearly. It seemed to me they didn't get the point, in brackets, and the irony of the information centre. Appreciate your response. Because my point was, it's not just about the physical access, but the way it was, in fact, you'll see in a minute, but the way it's physically made is just so incredibly silly. Like, the main bit of the hub is inaccessible, and disabled people have to go around the side, and you just think, like, but who designed that? Because I'm very surprised if a wheelchair user said, oh yeah, that looks good to me. Anyway, then they said, "Hi Jem, the Leeds management have assured me that they will explain to the team why it's important to keep the lower counter open at all times. Next time I'm passing, I'll check in as well and make sure it's understood. Hopefully next time you're there, it will be open and the bell won't be necessary. Thanks again for bringing this up. A real own goal for us there, so we appreciate your insight." I'm so sorry, she's got a plastic thing. And that's another thing about the bell, is like, if everybody had to press a bell, I wouldn't be so bothered, but it's like you have to make a grand entrance. And my mum said, when I pressed the bell with her, they looked round and they couldn't see me, and they were like, wondering what was going on. Like, this is your own space. You should expect that bell to go off. So then obviously it makes you feel a bit like, oh, sorry for disturbing you. And then you think, why am I apologising for going to the space that's made to talk to disabled people? Like, oh, God. Anyway, and I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit more brutal in this reply, just because I was just a bit like, it felt like someone was like, don't worry, we're going to sort it. Do you know what I mean? And I wanted, like, a bit more oomph behind it, like, we'll show you when it's open. So yeah, I was a bit more brutal, because I just felt like, it was like, no worries. Sorry, short interlude, I had to sort Rosie out. Yeah, I think I just wanted a bit more oomph, and like, a follow-up, like, I've been, and it's definitely open, blah, 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 and I don't know, I just felt like, again, it was just a PR thing, just to kind of shut me up a bit. I don't know, it frustrated me, and I felt like they just saw that as, oh, we'll open the door and, be quiet. But maybe that's my reaction, I don't know. But so one thing that I'm learning as I get older is like, if I feel something, it's worth saying. Do you know what I mean? So, yes, I feel like, and then the person put, thanks, Jem. I'll have a chat with the team and make sure that we take this on board. Which to me felt like, oh, we've listened but can't promise anything. So I put fingers crossed for a better experience soon. So, yeah, and I just feel like when you report ableism, it's so hard to feel confident in yourself that it's the right thing to do, because so many non-disabled people will say, well, it might just be that it's like this, or they probably just think, they don't know, do they? And it's like, we're too far in the game to not understand how to find out how something's accessible, even if you don't live it yourself, and why it's important. So yeah, I just thought I would take you through the journey of how I felt, because it was such a big thing to do, and I'm looking forward to going back to Leeds Train Station to see what the reaction is. Because, I've kind of put myself out there, but I think it's worth it, because I had so many friends who are disabled who use Leeds Train Station who said exactly the same thing. Blind friends that said, yep, I've struggled with that, not just that assistance place, but the lighting elsewhere. And obviously they've probably had feedback about that, and no one's done anything about it. So I just think, like, how much does it take to be heard? And then also you get judged for it anyway. So this was a bit of a moany one, but I just feel like I want to give you an insight into what it feels like to experience this. And I just think that people think everything's great now, and there's so much we need to improve on. And, it's a case of you've got to pick your battles, and this one I felt like was a battle worth picking. So yeah, we will see how it goes. Let me know your thoughts on how you deal with ableism. Like, does it make you feel like you're a nuisance? Have you ever chosen to pick a battle, or do you just think, oh, do you know what, I can't be bothered? Which, by the way, is totally valid, because sometimes you just think, there's only so much I can do anyway. So, yeah, that is my experience of Leeds Train Station. Fingers crossed, let's hope that things change. And, I'm not doing this to be a Karen or whatever. It's so important that we're all included in things, especially that's made for disabled people. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!